Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy and healthy start to this nice Friday morning over here as we wrap up this week and prepare for the new week of new opportunities. In fact, this week, a lot of very important things have actually been confirmed and validated even in the last 24 hours, which we'll be going over in this particular video. And then, of course, just following up on the short-term timeframes, of which yesterday we saw that short-term timeframe move to the downside first from yesterday's video. And then on the shorts upload and also Instagram stories as well, we did see the move to the upside to just under 21,000 bucks. So I wanted to follow up on that right now as Bitcoin's, basically just right there. So let's start off with actually the short-term timeframes right here. So I'm going to go down into the 4-hour timeframe, pick up where we kind of left off from yesterday, and basically we're looking at something like this, right? Bitcoin first comes down to our nice little blue box right here, and then gets buoyed up, and we saw that targeted region just under 21,000 bucks get hit. In fact, actually just pretty much is getting hit right again right here, which is good for the Bulas. So I would go as far to say that Bulas do have the balls in their court as long as Bitcoin, so this is very important right here, as long as Bitcoin is remaining above 20,100 on especially a 4-hour time frame closure. Even an hourly probably gets it as well. Violating that region, and yes, I would be looking for a test reasonably close to basically the 13th of July lows. Until then, all eyes are on this region, and with volatility kind of an expansive posturing right here, alongside 4-hour RSI reaching for the bullish control zone, I would be keeping a keen eye on 21,000 bucks. Any sort of a 4-hour time frame closure above there, even an hourly, I bet as well. Maybe even 20,950 or so. And yes, I would be looking for a move up to the daily range highs, basically somewhere around about 22,500 with very likely a stop somewhere around the way. Let's call it like 21,500 to maybe 21,650 or so. With that in mind, we can go reference short-term timeframe stochastic momentum, and you'll very quickly notice, or very likely quickly notice, that the 4-hour timeframe is actually pivoted to the downside at 20,100. So I do put a lot of significance on that region as long as Bitcoin is above there. Bitcoin Bulas do have the balls in their court, and I do favor the Bitcoin Bulas here as well. And that can obviously have major implications with the higher term timeframes, which we're about to get into right now. So let's now go into this chart. This is the 2-day timeframe chart, a very important chart, as also snaps her fingers in the background. Who knows what she's up to right now? She's requesting PP pictures from Krown imposters on Instagram, which is fucking great. What are girlfriends for? Who knows? Anyways, in this case right here, I do want to call it that the buy daily BBWP representing volatility is, pretty damn low. Now, can it get lower? Yes, absolutely. So this can take some time to resolve, obviously, as we have seen very low reads more recently in June and then May, of which we spoke about on this channel. And of course, we've seen a few other times in the past, like year and a half right here as well, with similarly low reads. Now, what I wanted to point out is that these low reads have been met with some pretty powerful moves. Obviously, the last couple ones, big downside moves to the tune of, in this case, about 44% almost, and this one right on over here in May at about 36.5%. As you can see, with the 2-day time frame stochastic momentum oscillator getting the correct direction on that, on those moves, I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, of these last 6 times, 5 out of the last 6 times, the stochastic momentum oscillator has gone the correct direction, actually. The only time that it was not correct was actually on this May dumbola right here. So with that in mind, obviously the buy daily stochastic momentum oscillator is, well, kind of vertical right here and going to be working its way out of the bearish control zone relatively soon. I would imagine on the next, not this closure, which is happening tonight, but likely the next one on Sunday. So that's kind of the next big thing to watch. It's going to be breaking out of the bearish control zone, assuming upside pressure. So as long as that condition is met, which by the way, it will be consistent as we can backtest, or not backtest, but forecast this over here. Not even backing. We're foring now, baby. Foreplaying this one to the fucking moon. Just kidding. As long as Bitcoin's above about 19,000 bucks. So again, very important 20,100 level, because if Bitcoin does lose that, probably does test somewhere reasonably close to this, and it's going to turn into a pretty fucking powerful downside signal. But for right now, it does favor the upside, of course. And we do see a few of the things of particular interest right here. So what do I want to get into next? Okay, so there's a lot of things on the higher term timeframes to be speaking about right now. Let's go reference the buy daily on this chart yet again. I wanted to point out that also on the buy daily RSI, there is potential phantom divergence, bullish divergence in this case, which will be confirmed as soon as tonight's closure at 7 p.m. Eastern time. If that happens anywhere here or higher, must be here or higher, by the way, the natural target somewhere around the 21, which guess where that is? Basically the daily range highs at 22,500, probably happen the next week or two, something like that. Although I always say that and then it's like the next fucking day. So who knows, man, who knows? But I would probably be waiting for at least next week. Anyways, in this case, oh my God, Bitcoin's girthy green dildos are growing up right now. 20,905 on BitMexico. That's insane. My Lord, man, getting excited right now for these candlesticks. Yes. So what did we want to get into next? Okay. So I wanted to speak about this over here. This one rather powerful. I haven't really brought it up yet. Brought it up yet. And this is the 5-day stochastic versus volatility signal. So what essentially am I talking about? What I'm talking about is when the 5-day BBWP is a volatility indicator measuring the dispersion of returns, gets above 80 percentile, which is where I have this nice little green bar right here, and then starts to curtail or contract, sorry, well, I guess the word works as well, comes back down below the moving average, and both of them have a negative slope. This has presented a pretty decent signal for price action throughout the actually annals of history here for Bitstamp as we go all the way back to 2011. So I've gone ahead and measured all of them, matched it up with the 5-day stochastic momentum oscillator direction, and found that of the 11 present iterations, the 5-day stochastic momentum oscillator got the correct direction on that reversion play. Basically 10 out of 11 times, which is just under 91%. And then the average reversion that we've seen, which there is a decent amount of variance in this, was about just under 54%, which I believe that we actually have something relatively similar from another angle kind of coming at this from. Here's the thing though, on the lower end, we have seen as low as about a 35% move, sorry, 32% move was the lowest one. And on the upper end, we've seen as great as 100% move, to be fair. Or sorry, actually 20% is the lowest move thus far. That was a downside move, by the way, I should add. But ultimately, if we were to play around with numbers here and kind of go throughout the minimum, the average, and maybe even on the maximum as well, though I don't think that that's necessarily necessary, and that's also redundant as well. If we were to add 20% on the current price action, that's where Bitcoin is already. And I don't think that that is going to be relevant because we just started to actually confirm this signal as of last night's closure, by the way. What is important right here, oh, sorry, I completely whiffed on why this is all important right now. Oh yeah, the 5-day stochastic momentum oscillator is pointed to the upside for the first time in a while, and will be remaining with upside caution as long as Bitcoin's above 19,500, basically 19,600. Okay, so again, 20,100 big area right there, because if it does lose that, probably coming back down to the low 19s, and that is going to make this into a non-event right here, or non-event for the boo laws. But for the moment, on the lower end, again, we do see a lot of those iterations coming in around about 35 to 40%. That would put Bitcoin at around, $25,000 on the upper end, obviously, which I do think this is rather unlikely to be quite frank with you. The average reversion was just under 54%. Again, that's including everything here. 54% puts Bitcoin like $28,000. What I do think is rather interesting with this, and one of the only formations, one of the only patterns that I'll ever call out, because I really do not trust them very much, is this. Not we, but Bitcoin as an inanimate object does have a nice little ascending herp and derp pattern going on right here. So what do we have? Well, we do have one of the only patterns that I do think actually matters, which is an ascending or descending triangle. I think these ones are the only ones that actually have a decent enough hit rate to even speak about. And in this case, as long as Bitcoin essentially holds above that last local low, which was in the mid-19s, that does have it, as a potential right here. And I do find that the measured moves on these are, rather trustworthy. So on a closing basis, that would actually imply a target of 26,500 or so, which is very much in alignment with what we just kind of estimated on, around the average of those mean reversion plays. So when we have a couple things to kind of corroborate these stories, that's where it becomes a lot more interesting. Anyways, in this case right here, this would not be validated from a pattern perspective. If not that I play fucking patterns myself, but this is not validated from a pattern perspective until Bitcoin is closing daily is basically above 22,500 or so. Basically this last local high that we saw from 7th of July, Bitcoin closed above there. Hey, there you go. And yeah, I guess I'd just be looking generally up and to the right for a little bit of time. And I do think that that's a little bit more likely to happen, as we did say, over the past few days or past couple weeks here now. This is going to be combined, of course, with this signal over here as well on the pi cycle indicator chart, of which, has been pretty damn good at calling the lows, to be fair, and the highs. More importantly, we have more iterations of the highs. Is it perfect? No. In the last case, it did call very, very close to the high, not necessarily in like a time-wise sense. Took about another half year to go from April to the actual all-time highs in November. And yeah, it did trade, 15% or about 50% above prior all-time highs. So was it perfect? No. Was it good enough for the long term? I mean, if you're a long-term investor, I guess so, but that's a matter of perspective, I suppose. Anyways, in this case, it has once again called a pi cycle low, and the last couple iterations have been pretty good, but just like I pointed out for the high side over here, it hasn't been perfect. In 2018, it was perfect, actually, pretty much on the low. If we go over here, though, and go down into a daily to really get the magnifying glass out, you'll notice, of course, in 2015, when it called the low over here on the daily, it called the low 3 days prior to the actual low itself. And while it doesn't look like much on the charts, or you can't see it right there, while it doesn't look like much on the charts, this is a pretty, nasty downside move. That's like 38, 39% or so. So, if you were to play around with numbers for right now, and this wasn't the low and it dumps off, a similar percent, that would put Bitcoin at like $12,000, obviously. So for right now, I do look at that as an interesting signal. I don't trade these sort of things personally, because I'm on the fucking 15-minute and 5-minute time frame for the love of God. So I don't really care about that. But in this case, if you are long term, it's perhaps a consideration to be having, simply because it has had a decent enough history alongside other things that we've been kind of tracking here as well. I haven't even spoken about the hash ribbons indicator, which we'll get onto over the weekend, obviously, because I want to save that for the macro Sunday analysis. Otherwise, this will be too long. But ultimately, does it make more sense to me for Bitcoin to bounce here than not? Probably yes. I would express caution that this is like the actual low as of right now. I do think that Bitcoin probably comes back down at some later date, maybe like Q4 or end of summer, and grinds out our current lows, maybe a little bit lower as well, is what I do think the best case scenario is. But for the shorter term, it looks like Bitcoin Bull is going to have a chance here as I search for the right chart. So there we go. Anyways, I'm just referencing my notes. Did I miss anything? I'm sure that I missed a few things, but yes. How could I miss this? Holy shit. This was like the focal point of the analysis. So yesterday we pointed out that the daily stochastic pivot is at just above $21,000. Technically speaking, right now at 21,140 actually. So if Bitcoin can clear above that short-term time frame range highs, then that will very likely coincide with closing today above 21,100 as well. And that'd be another good indication that we probably do see, a greater upside move, at least to $22,500, and probably does carry on beyond that as well. So in this case, I would keep a keen eye on that. Again, for today, you'll notice that this number will change with each and every passing closure. So I'm just going off of the latest data that is available. It's all that I can obviously do, but we'll update, as the days pass on by. So for right now, still 21,100, not just range highs, but also a daily momentum pivot, just above there to be fair. But those likely coincide with each other. So for the moment, I'd keep an eye on that for the daily closure. And then obviously that can play into and bleed into all the other higher term time frame signals that we spoke about earlier. So with that in mind, I want to be wishing you well. I want to be... the Bybit has a sale. No, they don't have a sale. They have a promotion. They have a promotion where you get 0% on your maker fees, meaning that if you get filled on a limit order that's not filled at market price, then hey, you actually don't pay any fees, which is pretty fucking good promotion, simply because it's just more money in your pocket. I quite like that. So if you are looking to take advantage of that, there is a link in the description below. I would even humbly request that people do take advantage of that, even if they don't intend to use it, simply because then they'll keep on giving us this promotion, and then I can use it, and it'd be really, really nice. But hey, I can't expect that, and I think just now it's time for me to say sincere and appreciative thank you, and I'll be signing off now. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.